Zap. I see the blurb there. It's just not playing yet. So give it a second. And Grim will. There he is. What's up? All right. So here we are. I am your resident lawn mowing expert in the house today playing Lawnmower Simulator. Now, before we get into this, there will be a timestamp in the description below on YouTube for when I get into the gameplay, because we do have to talk about some things. I do have to preface this stream with some things. Number one, I have no one to blame for having to play this game tonight but myself. I will partially blame the Grim Gamer, and I will tell you why. If you would like to, Grim, while I go over this, drop the link in the chat here for why I'm doing this. Because for, probably a month or better, I've been trying to get the Grim Gamer to play Forklift Simulator, and it was a PS5 game released only in Europe. It was never released here in the States, so Grim had to import a copy of Forklift Simulator, and he wouldn't do it. I couldn't get him to do it. No matter how hard I tried, he didn't want to do it. Now, I should also mention that Grim drives a forklift for a living, has done so for several years. And he didn't want to do it. He said it would sound like hell. And I thought it would be hilarious, like it was. So there's the link for it. You can go watch it. But to sweeten the deal for Dear Grim, I finally figured out how to convince him to play it. I said, if you play Forklift Simulator, if you give your expert opinion and review on Forklift Simulator, I will do the same for Lawn Mowing Simulator. Now, so that's why we're here. I don't know why my screen just turned blue. I guess I waited too long and the game just said, we're not doing this today. That's cool. But out of all of the jobs that I've had in my lifetime, let's see here. I had this one for 3 years, right outside of high school. It's already going swell. Right outside of high school, I did landscaping for about 3 years, and ever since then I've been in a factory, and in this factory I was a mold injection parts machine or mold injection machine parts inspector. So the mold injection machine would make parts that come down to a conveyor belt. I would inspect them, partially assemble them, and either put them in shipping containers or put them on whip racks, work in progress racks, and then they would go further into the plant and get further assembled or whatever have you, painted, whatever. I did that job for 12 years. So if there was a mold injection parts inspector simulator, I would be playing that instead. But that game doesn't exist. What I currently do now is I make doors on a assembly line. It's like a 7-station or 7-person assembly line where we make doors for trucks. And so if there was like a truck door assembly line simulator, I might play that as well instead of this, because it's what I do now for a living. So, and the only other thing that I've done that has a simulator based on it is Lawn Mowing Simulator. And I did this job for 3 years, and within, a year and a half, I worked my way up to crew leader, where I had my own truck, I had my own equipment that I was responsible for. I didn't do all of the maintenance on my equipment, but I did do the preventive maintenance, so, greasing them, sharpening blades, whatever have you. But I started off as just a guy with a weed whacker, and I did that for a year and a half. In the wintertime, what I would do was snow removal, plowing. I started off doing just shoveling sidewalks and salting sidewalks, to working my way up into an actual full-size plow truck, doing parking lots and, all that fun stuff. But currently it is, 20-something degrees here where I live, and we're going to cut some grass today. And I am going to give my expert opinion about whether or not this game truly simulates the lawn mowing experience. I should also mention, outside of mowing grass professionally, I've been mowing grass for probably close to about 23 years now. Growing up, the house that we had was sitting on like 3 acres. So, once I got to be about, I don't know, maybe 10 years old, we started mowing the yard ourselves and, dragging push mowers through ditches and stuff. So that was a good time. So yes, I've been mowing grass for about 23 years, but I did it professionally for about 23. Based off of what I could see from this game, it takes place in like the British countryside or something like that, and it looks like it's possibly going to be this is kind of my expectation going into it. It looks like it's mostly like kind of like your basic residential lawn mowing. When I say I did landscaping for 3 years, I did far more than lawn mowing. We did a little bit of everything, and 90% of it I wasn't even qualified for. We just kind of figured it out. They said, hey, go here and clean out this half of forest, and we're like, okay, and we figured it out. Some days I don't know how we made it to the job site and home from the job site. Suave loved mowing grass so much he traded to do it and then doing it for a living and getting paid to paying to do it virtually. Yes, I dropped like $30 on this game because I miss it so much and it's just calling me. But I didn't do a whole lot of residential mowing. 90% of what I did I would call industrial mowing. So we had contracts with some of the power companies locally, where we would do their substations. We would mow the grass. And some of the long corridors of grass were like the power line towers and stuff were through residential areas and things like that. So, they still had to comply with the local, township ordinances and stuff. So, they couldn't just let their grass grow, so we had to go in and we had to cut the grass down outside the substations. There was a couple substations that actually had grass inside the fence. So when it came time to do those, we'd have to put on like fire retardant suits, and we had to have an escort into the substation by one of the power company operators, and that would keep an eye on us, make sure we didn't get too close to the equipment and all that stuff. And we're standing 10 feet away from like 10,000 volt control rods and stuff. It was kind of wild. But that was 90% of what we did, was the outside of electrical substations and land owned by the power companies. We did do, I think it was 2 or 3 residential houses. We did do some like warehouses, a couple factories, where they wanted their front lawns striped, and they wanted the hedges trimmed up real nice and the mulch raked over every couple weeks and all that kind of stuff. So we did do some, I guess professional, nice shit, but 90% of it was just cut it as short as humanly possible, and when you weed whack it, just run it into the dirt. Because if we ran the weed whacker into the dirt, that meant we didn't have to weed whack it again for like 2 or 3 weeks. And especially in the summer months around here where I live, it gets very dry in the summer, and so we'd cut that stuff so short that it would just crunch under your feet. The ground would have cracks in it. It was so dry. So I'd go like entire days not even having to weed whack, and I would just sit on the truck waiting for the mowers to be done. And half the time we'd show up and just put fresh lines in it, not even turn the blades on. So I don't expect this game to be a very accurate representation of the lawn mowing and landscaping expertise that I personally have. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way. Developing this game was Skyhawk.
Have some goddamn faith.
Was Skyhook Games. To my knowledge, this is the only game to their resume. At least on their website, it is the only game on their resume. I do believe they've provided some assets for other games, but in terms of games that they've done, this is the only one. They have announced the creation of Lawn Mowing Simulator 2, so this game must have done well enough to warrant a sequel. If you find this on Steam, you will know that it has very positive reviews. So there's that. Lawn Mowing Simulator 2, this is also promising, has a Kickstarter page where you can contribute to their campaign to get this game developed and funded. Lawn Mowing Simulator 2 will now have the addition of leaf blowers, so that's not something I'm going to have to worry about in Lawn Mowing Simulator 1. But they have partnered with Kubota to have a new brand in their games. Kubota will actually be the lead brand partner for Lawn Mowing Simulator 2. So how about that? And Lawn Mowing Simulator 2 will actually take place in the U.S., whereas this one takes place in Britain. So if you thoroughly enjoy Lawn Mowing Simulator 1, there is a Kickstarter for Lawn Mowing Simulator 2. And for everyone's benefit, that link is right there. Kickstarter.com/projects/Skyhook Games/Lawn Mowing Simulator 2. There you have it. So with that being said, now we are going to crack open ye ol' Mountain Day, because it's not a suave beard stream without the green nectar of the gods. So we're going to load this up real quick, open this up real quick, and take ourselves a swig. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to cut some grass. And I'm also ready to turn that goddamn music off. Because I don't know about you, but listening to this while I'm mowing grass would only piss me off. Yeah, that's enough of that. Okay. So we've got career mode. We've got challenge mode, and where we will be tasked with completing one of 3 challenge types: time limit, fuel limit, and striping at specific locations. Now, I will say, when I did landscaping and I did mowing of the lawns, I could make your yard look like a goddamn quilt, okay? So I'm going to, if there's striping challenges in this, and if striping is part of the simulation of Lawn Mowing Simulator, we're going to find out just how real the striping mechanic in this game is. As you progress through career mode and start to rank up your company, you'll begin to unlock new challenges to attempt. And then we've got free mow mode. I like mowing that grass so much, I did it for free. Can customize a session to my liking. I can turn off damage at a time limit, set your own cut height, and play how you want to. So does that mean I could run this the weed whacker into the dirt? As you unlock new locations or buy new vehicles in career mode, you will also unlock them for uses in free mow. Fun fact of the day that I just remembered. So the weed whacker is, I think, officially known as the string trimmer. I have never in my life until today called a weed whacker a string trimmer. I've called it a weed whip, a weed eater, a weed whacker, but never a string trimmer. But that is the actual name for a weed whacker, is a string trimmer. Now, couple months ago, Mrs. Suave and I happened to watch Dancing with the Stars. Yes, I watched Dancing with the Stars. It was a fine show. However, there is a professional dancer on that show by the name of Mark Ballas. He is the grandson of the inventor of the string trimmer. So there, now you know that. And then we've got these DLCs for Lawn Mowing Simulator, and I just so happen to have purchased... almost dropped my controller. I purchased Lawn Mowing Simulator Landmark Edition, which includes the Ancient Britain DLC and the Dino Safari DLC. Yes, now when you go to work tomorrow, Grim, you can say, hey, the guy that invented the string trimmer, his grandson is a professional dancer on Dancing with the Stars. And you can just wow your coworkers with your knowledge. So with that being said, let's get started and launch our career. I will also say that the landscaping company that I worked for was a smaller business, as most of them are. I want to say we employed maybe 20 to 25 people total, and there was probably maybe 12 or 15 of us that were actually in the daily mowing activities. So I did learn a little bit. I did learn a thing or two about how small businesses operate in my 3 years there. Would I like to turn off tutorials? We recommend that new players follow the tutorials. I should probably play the tutorial. Let's get started. In this mode, you can create your own lawn mowing company and build up its reputation. As you expand your company, you can hire employees, purchase more mowers, and unlock new contracts. But first, your company needs setting up with a name, logo, and uniform. Company name. We are going to be called Suave Cuts LLC. There we go. You want your lawn mowed? Call Suave Cuts. Let's see here. Company logo. Do you have a mustache? You do not have a mustache. I guess it doesn't really matter much. But we'll go with I guess we'll just go with that one for now. Edit player appearance. On this screen, you can customize your in-game appearance of your player avatar, as well as their physical appearance. You can change the colors of the company uniform and where your company logo is displayed. So player name is Suave. Player avatar. None of these people look suave. This guy is the only guy that has any sort of facial hair whatsoever. So I guess this will be suave. We'll just go with black hat. Logo placement, front and back. Front only, back only, or no logo. We're going to go front and back. Uniform color. We'll go black and also black. Actually, you know what? Actually, we are not going to go with black. And I'll tell you why. Because in the summertime when you're mowing grass, black shirts get hot. So we're going to go with gray because that was like basically the color shirt that I had when I did this professionally. So there we have it. I definitely did not wear a polo shirt though. That definitely never happened. So negative review on Steam, that is not an accurate uniform. But then again, I suppose if you're doing like professional, residential, lawn mowing, you wouldn't want your employees looking like goddamn hooligans, as my boss told me I looked like one time. So I guess a polo shirt would be more appropriate. I could go with the little house on the hill. Yeah, that's a little better than uncut grass, I suppose. So yeah, we'll do that. So confirm. Start company. Are you happy with your company's setup? Select accept or back if I want to make more changes. So looks like Suave Cuts LLC is going to start with 3,000 euros. It does kind of look a little bit like a top hat. You're right. And it's March 2021. So test drive. Now you have a company of your own. You will need your first vehicle to get cutting. Select a vehicle from the list below and take it for a test drive. This vehicle is equipped with a collector type deck, which means as you cut with it, the grass clippings are sucked up into the vehicle's hopper. No piles of grass clippings will be left unless you overload the engine or your hopper is full. Side discharge type deck. This vehicle is equipped with a side discharge, which means as you cut with it, grass clippings are discharged from the side. When cutting with these types of decks, always keep in mind the direction you're mowing to avoid dropping grass piles on paths and flower beds. That is important. Mulcher type deck. This vehicle is equipped with a mulcher type deck. That means as you cut with it, the grass clippings are cut so small, no visible blades are left. No piles of grass clippings will be left unless you overload the engine, which will mean the deck doesn't have the power to cut the grass blades. So unfortunately, we don't get to start with a zero turn, which is unfortunate. Does it say how much this is going to cost, or do I just get to buy the damn thing? I do want to check out this particular zero turn right here. This, nope, not that one. This one, the Turf Tiger 2. This mower looks almost identical to one of the mowers that I would have used when I did landscaping. Except you see this like fancy little, like roll cage on the zero turn. We didn't have those. Those, in my opinion, are actually safety hazards. And I will tell you why. I almost flipped a lawnmower because of one of them. The telephone poles that have the wire down to the ground with the little, yellow or white plastic on them? It's a guide wire, right? So if the pole breaks, the guide wire will bring it down where it's supposed to go or keep it from falling over. I hooked one of these roll cages on a guide wire and damn near flipped the mower. So we took ours off. So we got Toro, we got Knight lawnmowers. Let's see, we've got Skags, Stigas, another Toro. We've got Patterson equipment. We've got Ego Power Beyond Belief. This looks like an electric zero turn. But I think I want to go with the side discharge lawnmower because that looks like it would be your most basic lawnmower. With this one having a mulching deck, I'm guessing that there's probably no hydraulics involved in this, but there is a raising and lowering of the deck. And then this one here having the chute and everything to collect the clippings. That isn't something that at least I don't think a landscaping company would start off with. I feel like a landscaping company with only $3,000 would start with this Forrest Gump looking lawnmower with just a basic side chute. Deck size is 80 centimeters. This one's 84. That one's 98. So this is going to be the smallest. 5 liter fuel tank, 6 liter, and 5 liter. Rear-wheel drive system. Top speed 7 miles an hour, so it's the fastest of the bunch. 9.5 horsepower engine. These have about 10. Fun fact, the first car I ever owned was a sport model Geo Metro LSI, and that had 70 horsepower. So that's about the equivalent of 13,230 platypus power, if I remember correctly. So that is a thing you also now know. So yeah, let's just test drive this guy right here. The Patterson RAO. Always check your deck. Okay. Here you can familiarize yourself with a particular vehicle in conditions similar to a real contract. Approach the vehicle to get on it. Use L and R to look around. Okay, so we're in first person. Okay, R1 is sprint. Once you are on your vehicle, you will need to get it started and onto the grass. Duh. Each vehicle is slightly different to get going. Follow the steps to get it started at the bottom of the screen. Hold square to start the vehicle's engine. Use L and R for the throttle. Oh yeah! We're cooking with gas tonight! Alright, with the vehicle started, take a moment to get used to it, then drive over to the grass and you can start cutting. More power! Alright, change the cut height. Okay, is it possible to change? Yes, Imperial units. That's what I need, is Imperial units. Okay, so cut height. If I wanted it to look nice, I would cut it at probably 4 inches, roughly. And then if it was something that just needed to be cut that we weren't going to get back to for a week or so, or for 2 or more weeks, I'd try to get it down to 2.5 if possible. So we'll go with 3.5 inches. Once on the grass, you now need to get your deck ready by first setting the cut height, then engaging the cutting blades. You should only ever turn on your blades when on grass, otherwise you will damage them and affect their ability to cut. Not necessarily, because we actually used to use our lawnmowers as leaf blowers, because if, you know, grass was all up in the parking lot, you could go like this, you know, on flat ground and turn the blades on and go in reverse, and it would just blow the grass back into said grass. So turning on your mower blades on any surface other than grass will not damage your blades. If it's not a level, now you don't want to start your blades over gravel. You know, that should be fairly obvious. Yes, we're going to invert that because I feel like it's already inverted, and it shouldn't be. Okay, how low can I set this deck? 1.5 inches is the lowest it'll go. Now, I do like the detail that the mower deck actually changes height, so kudos for that. But yeah, we will set this at 3.5 inches. Now, how do I engage my mower blades? I missed that part. When on contract, you'll be required to cut the grass to a certain height. Each contract will have its own height the grass needs to be cut to. Set your cut height within the range of 5 to 6 centimeters and cut 20% of the grass. While cutting, you can track your progress with the bar on the top right. The progress bar shows you how much of the required amount you have to cut. Grass cut at the correct height fills your bar white. Grass that is cut too short fills the bar with red. I set the wrong cut height. Well, you told me to set it in fucking centimeters, and I have it in inches. So that's a problem. So between 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 is 2.25 inches. A little low for my liking, but all right. What do you mean I have the wrong cut height? You want the damn thing on the ground or what? It said between 5 and 6 centimeters, correct? There's literally one setting in between those two. What, am I just not allowed to have it on Imperial units? Alright, well, this is working fine. Now, which is weird. And yes, this is accurate on how we mow under bushes. We get under the bush as far as we possibly can. So if these are thorn bushes, your arms are fucked. I feel like this was supposed to just be a tutorial anyways, so I don't know why I have to cut all of this. Just like, I should get a fucking discount on my mower if I'm mowing your grass. We never wore long sleeve shirts because it got hot very, very fast. What's up, man? How you doing? Now, the general rule of thumb when it comes to mowing grass, obviously you don't want to constantly have your grass pointed inward, because once you get to the middle of the yard, you're going to be mowing over all of the clippings that you blow to the middle. But you also don't want to turn around and start mowing, you know, towards parking lots and sidewalks and things, because you'll have grass clippings all over the place. And this game does a terrible job of placing grass clippings in the parking lot. So in this game, negative review on Steam, you can just, you know, throw your grass wherever you want. The general rule of thumb is 2 passes away from whatever it is you're mowing from, whether it be a sidewalk or a driveway, things of that nature. We do 2 passes. By holding R3 while stationary, you can engage Pro View, which highlights areas of grass that have not been cut to the required height. This is useful when you're trying to find the last bits of grass to cut to complete a contract. Kind of feel like I shouldn't need that view, because as long as you, you know, just follow your stripes, you should be fine. Just follow the lines. It's not that hard. It's not rocket appliances. Okay, so now we can reverse direction. And blow it the other way without risk of getting grass clippings all over the parking lot. Okay, so I was overloading the engine, which makes sense because I am running over 2 passes of grass clippings. So we'll slow down a little bit on this pass. I think I left a little mohawk in there. I think there was a small section that I missed on that last pass. Now, can I be in first person in... Yes! There we go. I mean, this is really weird, though. This first person view is just really, really odd. Because I feel like I am sitting on the back of the seat. And I have no hands, no nothing. The wheel does turn, so there's that, but... I'm sitting in the back seat of this lawnmower, and that really looks weird. So I guess we're gonna do this in third person. I still don't like the volume on this, so let's put that down to about 7. Move that down to also about 7, because I felt like I was kind of yelling. I mean, I suppose that's accurate, you know, for a lawn mowing simulator, because whenever you're on a lawnmower, you gotta kind of talk a little louder. So there's that. That is a thing. Sitting on the engine, that's got to be hot. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, now nobody can doubt my epic lawn mowing skills. I wouldn't be overloading my engine if you didn't let this goddamn yard turn into a hayfield. Not only that, you're having me cut it at 2 1/4 inches. Bruh, it's getting yellow. Like, do you want your grass to regrow? Because 2 1/4 inches is shorter than anything I've ever cut. It's just a little bit ridiculous. I'm leaving an entire strip, aren't I? Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, the customer is always right. My ass. Although I do like how if you overload the engine, there was one section that I noticed back there where the grass didn't get cut properly. Let me see if I can find it again. That was right up here. The engine got overloaded, so not all of the grass right there got cut. That happens all the time. Again, if we weren't cutting this bitch at 2 1/4 inches, we wouldn't be having this problem. 3 inches is plenty short enough. But customer, they're right. No, not in this case. I'm the expert here. I'm in charge. Honestly, if I had a customer, like if I was doing lawn mowing for a living, like my own business, and the customer said, hey, I want you to cut my grass at 2 1/4 inches, I'd say no. You can find somebody else to do it that fucking short. Right. They'll send an email about it. Yeah, probably. Okay, you know what? I'm almost done with the progress. Let's see. Let me set this to like 3.5, and just kind of see what that looks like. If it looks any better. Certainly not overloading my lawnmower nearly as much, you know, because there's no reason for the grass to be that short. Guess you can't really see much of a difference, but, you know, this is a video game. I mean, when you're talking 3.5 inches of grass to 2.5 inches, it's a difference of about that much. So it's a lot of grass. Negative review on Steam, no depth perception. That's right. If you're trying to sell me an authentic simulation, you got to do it right. Great work. In a real contract, however, you will be expected to cut all the grass. When a contract has been completed, you now have to store your vehicle on the trailer and then interact with your pickup truck to leave the location. Oh yeah, I forgot. We're in Britain. You drive on the passenger side. Equipment must be stored. Oh, all right. It was on the trailer, but okay. I'm trying to leave. Okay, I don't know why it didn't let me do that the first time. I know you're playing this for the expert plays experience, but I gotta tell you, I hate doing this crap in real life. I couldn't imagine playing this for fun. Yeah, me neither. Okay, yeah, we'll go with this guy. $800. So how much you? $2,200. So I'm gonna be left with $800. Lit. Purchase. The dream begins right there, bud. Lawn in the USA. We're not in the USA. Oh, I purchased an American-made mower. Okay, that makes sense. While a mower is great for open areas of grass, string trimmers are perfect for lawn edges and cutting around obstacles. Contracts require you to have a mower and a string trimmer to complete them, so you need to purchase a string trimmer now. For the rest of this playthrough, this will be called a weed whacker, okay, with the H's. So we've got, let's see, this one is powered by a 24cc two-stroke motor. This is an electric one, I do believe. Powered by battery, yes. And this one is also battery. So we're going to go with grass type. A little weed whip, yes. 14 inches. That one's got 16 inches. But we're going to go with this one. An 1/8 of a gallon fuel tank. Well, what's the price? $250, $300, and $480? Yeah, you can fuck off with that. We'll go with the Night lawn mowers. Now, this one here is kind of interesting because why am I putting so much emphasis on the H? I don't know. I'm not saying anything weird. I'm not saying anything what way. Anyway, we did have a couple weed whackers where, just your standard, like this, where the throttle is on the shaft. And then we had other ones where it had like these handlebars. And these ones, dude, oh boy, howdy. You could get them bitches going. And just heard Brian saying you're so you had to. Yeah, that's fair. So this is the cheapest weed whacker on the market. Select a contract. This is the contract map where you can see available contracts to select and start. Now your company is set up. Select the contract button at the bottom of the map to open it. Front garden. This is the only one we got. Complexity 1 star. RP value 50. I get about $300 for this, and I've got $550 left. So once you select a contract, you can see see information about its value and requirements. If you wish to accept the contract, you first need to assign an employee vehicle and equipment. Select the employee vehicle or equipment option to the left next. A little hot rod reference. Yeah. Assign an employee. Well, that's going to be me. Vehicle is going to be the lawnmower, and the equipment is going to be the weed whacker. So completion target, 98.5%. Recommended deck width, 39 3/8 inches. Ain't got that. How much did this one have? Well, I can't see it, but 31 inches. It was the size of this one. So we are 8 inches under size for this. Current grass range, 5 1/8 to 7 7/8. Cutting height, 2 inches to 2 3/8 inches. So you want me to cut this hayfield from nearly 8 inches down to 2 inches. You're talking 6 fucking inches of grass cutting here, bud. We're talking like this much. Ground check time limit, 4 minutes, and recommended cut time, 26 minutes. Yippee. Front garden at Old Nook Cottage requires a general cut. The lawn is surrounded by flower beds, so take care to not damage them. And don't leave grass clippings in the beds. Aye, aye. Never been 8 inches too short, know what I'm saying? Yeah. Did you set up and confirm contracts, their pin on the map will turn yellow, and the contract that you are assigned to will have a star displayed. With the first contract confirmed, you can start it and head to the location to begin cutting. All right, well, let's go then. Oh, this don't look too bad. Ground check phase. At the start of each contract, you have a small period of time to find and remove any objects on the grass area that can either be damaged or damage your vehicle. Yeah, we run them bitches over. When it came... See, I did what we called at my company fine mow. That was your, 0 turns and whatever have you. Now, we also had a rough mow division, which was like your big tractors with the brush hogs behind them and everything like that. That's typically what you see on like the interstate in the middle of the summer on the freeway when they're cutting the medians and stuff. The big tractors with the pull behind mowers. I saw one of them guys run over a fucking propane tank, okay? We don't pick up shit. You can choose to skip ground check and have the objects automatically removed by interacting with your mower or equipment. This will mean you don't earn money or RP. I will also mention that when Homeboy ran over the propane tank, his lawnmower, his brush hog probably came about 2 feet off the ground. And he just didn't even slow down. Just, I didn't think it was going to fly up like that. Just kept on going. There's 3 objects in here. Where are they? Not sure what it was, but all right. Was that a tennis ball? Start mowing, you'll find them. Yeah. Well, I don't see a third one anywhere. I mean, I suppose, yeah, they could be walnuts, too. There it is. That's a stick. Turn to the trailer and unload the vehicle or equipment to start cutting. With the ground check complete, it's time to start cutting some grass. You can use either your string trimmer or vehicle however you want. Weed whackers are best for cutting the edges in any tight areas, while your vehicle is best for large open areas of grass. I will mow first and weed whack what's left. Okay, and this guy wanted it what? 2 inches to 2 3/8 inches is what he wants it cut at. So you're getting a, well, I think the closest I'm going to get is 2 1/4. Yeah. See, the problem with cutting the grass this short is you're not going to get very good stripe lines with it. Because the reason your grass looks striped when you mow it is because the pressure from the... Oh, I destroyed a flower. My bad. The pressure from the lawnmower and the wheels push the grass down, so it like lays the grass down, and that's what creates your stripe pattern, because you've got one stripe going this way and one stripe going this way, so your grass is laying like this. That's what creates your stripe pattern. When the grass is only 2 fucking inches long, there ain't enough of it to lay down to make a stripe pattern. I don't have a jump button? What the fuck is this? There. Happy? This is why I didn't like doing residential. People were too damn picky. I wasn't done yet. Cutting at the wrong height, my ass. Oh, it went up 1/4 of an inch. There's some scissors. Go trim what you missed. Yeah, no shit. There. Happy now? I shaved off 1/4 inch. Quit your bitching. Do 2 passes around everything. That should be plenty to not leave any trimmings in the flower beds or anything like that. Realistically speaking, of course. This also gives us a turnaround area for when we do striping. Okay, so we've done our initial 2 passes. Now I'm thinking if we're going to stripe this, well, first off, let me get off my mower because I left grass clippings. It probably has their AI if grass was cut properly. Yeah, more than likely. So I'm thinking stripes about like this. I always like the diagonal stripes. So we're just going to do this until we make it to the other side. Vehicle's motor, if you overload it by driving too fast, cutting too much at once, you will suffer engine damage and your cut quality will be affected. Cut quality, yes. Engine damage, I suppose if you do it for a couple 100 hours. Cutting when overloaded will leave blades of grass uncut that will have to be cut again. Yeah. That is true. Now, the one thing, I mean, this mower has a steering wheel, so this isn't as big of a deal. But when it comes to the zero turns, I'd really like to see maybe... Because one of the other games that I have is Construction Simulator, and you have to use L2, like on bulldozers, you have to use L2 for the left track and R2 for the right track. When it came to like the zero turns in this game, which I haven't driven one yet, but just going off the controls that, let's see, it doesn't look like it's going to actually give me the option to change my controls here, but I didn't see anything like forward is just R2, backwards is L2. It would be kind of nice if maybe they changed it to like the sticks. So up on the right stick is like the right side of the zero turn forward, and left up is left zero turn forward. And so this would be your like zero turn controls would be the analog sticks. That would be kind of cool if they did that. Because that would be, you know, simulating the simulation. Hey Siri, recommend lawn, grass, height, front, backyard. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you don't really see really any striping there. I mean, at least not yet. Like, I should be able to make this lawn look like a quilt. Stop stealing my work. How's it going, Blues? Good to see you. Ain't seen you in quite a while. You know, life and such. Now this is the part where striping's going to kind of suck. It's in this really small area right here, but what it is what it is. Woke up in the middle of the night. Well, hopefully you get back to sleep fairly easily, because that can suck. Okay, we're not doing this. The guy didn't ask for a striping pattern. He ain't getting a striping pattern, big fella. Working in 3 hours? Gross. You have my sympathy, my friend. Yeah, I would put in the effort to stripe this, but the homeowner kind of already pissed me off by, you know, complaining about their damn grass clippings on their sidewalk before I finished my job. So he's going to get whatever fucking pattern this looks like. Piss on him. I at the start of the stream, I explained that right out of high school, I did like industrial and commercial landscaping and lawn mowing for about 3 years. And I got my brother there, Grim, to play forklift simulator last night, because that's what he does for a living. So we're playing games as close to our professions as we possibly could. I haven't been in this line of work in over a decade, but it was my first job outside of high school. Forklift simulator is just as riveting as you'd expect. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like a game that I need to rush out and buy. All you can say is this mower is about as accurate the one that you use. I mean, I have a Craftsman down in my shed that's a little bit like this one, but I was using, and I think it said it had like a 31-inch deck on it. The mowers that I operated for the company I worked for were like 60-inch zero turns. And then I also actually used a mower that had 3 different decks on it, one in the front, one on the and one on each side. And when you folded that thing all the way out, it had 11 blades and was 16 feet wide. It was a unit. I had a really nice zero turn when I did landscaping. It was a Hustler brand, and those things would mow grass at like 20 mile an hour. They were, whoops, I ran over a flower. My bad. But those things would fly. They were expensive, but nice. Oh yeah, that electric fork truck was nice. Yeah, he'll get over it. I guess there's a little bit of a stripe pattern now. You can kind of see it. That's all right. That electric fork truck you were using, though, that thing can move 2 skids at a time, unlike your actual forklift. So, you know, winning and everything. Yeah, so we're going to give this guy the homeowner special. We're just going to go in a circle opposite the way we started. Oh, I'm sure there's a cooking simulator of some sort. But yes, you should do that, because we could use the expert review on, you know, cooking simulator. You spin me right around. Yeah, this is about as riveting as lawn mowing gets. Whoops, I ran over a couple more flowers. Now, this guy obviously has, you know, is in a well-to-do neighborhood and everything like that. Lawn mowing can get a little bit more riveting if you're cooking kind of, you know, like in some not-so-good neighborhoods. Then lawn mowing can be fairly interesting. I've certainly spent time in some shady neighborhoods mowing grass. That got interesting. Yeah, your friends on PlayStation, bruh. Cooking was a trend for many a year. Yeah. Chef Life Restaurant Simulator. Oh boy. Chase, it's your turn now. You gotta do it, man. Alfredo edition. Yeah, that is 100% believable. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I got some Got some crazy stories from my landscaping days, that's for damn sure. Most of it didn't actually involve lawn mowing, though. It was the other aspects of the, I guess, landscaping, you could say, you know, cutting down trees or, you know, sitting in the back of a leaf vacuum truck with a leaf blower trying to keep the mulched leaves from catching the exhaust on fire. And, you know, when the exhaust did catch on fire, I ran up to the driver and stole his brand new 32-ounce Gatorade as he was getting ready to take a sip of it and put the fire out on the exhaust with a Gatorade. You know, that was fun. He was ready to kick my ass because I just fucking straight up janked his, you know, Gatorade, brand new fresh Gatorade right out of his mouth damn near. He was about ready to whoop my ass until I explained to him, hey, bud, the back of the truck was on fire and you're sitting in a truck full of dry leaves. And he just kind of went, oh, word, thanks. I was like, I'll buy you a new Gatorade, champ. Thanks for putting the fire out. Well, we're at 92, almost 93% completion, so that's cool. Got a story with a tree. Got a couple of them too. And there was one year, it was in the wintertime, we didn't get a whole lot of snow. I got picked to drive about 3 hours to an auction site to pick up a truck that my boss had bought on auction. It was like a GMC 5500 or something like that. Made to pull big ass trailers. And I got to drive this thing with no load all the way back from this 3 hour trip. And this thing was like a fucking board on wheels for 3 hours. My ass bone, I thought, was broken by the time I got back. This game needs some Happy's Pizza, and I'd be saying, dude, I damn near lived on Happy's Pizza cheese bread when I did landscaping. That shit was awesome. Yeah, I've certainly got my fair share of, I actually did go to the emergency room on the clock once. That was a fun time. Ended up with 6 stitches in my left thumb. With the cutting complete, you now need to store your vehicle and equipment and interact with your pickup to leave the location. If you left grass clippings on the paths or flower beds, you can pick them up before leaving to avoid any cleanup fees. I'm pretty sure the company that I worked for is no longer in the mowing business. I do believe they still are in business, but have pivoted away from landscaping and lawn mowing. Guess I didn't need the weed whacker after all, did I? All right, yeah, we're out of here. If you got grass clippings in your flowers, well, whatever. I do want to use this, though. Weed whackers are great for cutting along the edge of lawns, up against objects, or in tight spaces. To use, hold R2. So, you mean to tell me I can't adjust the height with this? Seriously? I can't just, like, mow down this dude's flowers? Oh, I guess I can. I guess getting the one with the grass catcher would have been beneficial, at least as far as this game goes. Well, yeah, absolutely. Now, see, here's the thing I want to find out. I don't even understand how this thing is actually supposed to even work right now, because yeah, your weed whacker physics need some work. First of all, yeah, I can't adjust the height of this thing in any way. Now, when I did weed whacking, we would just run the son of a bitch straight into the dirt 99% of the time. But again, I didn't do residential. We did industrial, and the more we ran the thing into the dirt, the less we had to do the next week. Now, I am aware that this is lawn mowing simulator, not weed whacker simulator. So there is that. But that weed whipper sucks. This don't weed whip nothing. Before you leave the contract, you need to store your equipment in the truck and your mower. I did that. What, is it not in the truck enough? There, is that good? But like the fact that there's no height on the weed whacker, you know, that kind of sucks, because if you're, this is going to sound kind of silly, but there really is some skill when it, almost more skill in using a weed whacker in a residential setting than there is like the actual lawnmower, because you have to have finesse with those to a certain degree to be able to get it short and, you know, not run it into the dirt. You know, and then also if you run the, like say if you're going up against like a flower bed or a mulch bed, or like these, it doesn't look like there's any mulch in there, but there's, you know, it's just dirt. But either way, you'd want to cut that like basically down to the dirt and then kind of feather it into where the grass is cut, so you don't just have, you know, 2-inch grass and then dirt. You'd have a little bit of a, you know, like a sloped edge in there. Is the way I would do it. You know, to make it look nice, it'd be almost like beveled. And then we'd also go along like sidewalks and all that stuff and weed whack that some nights. But the weed whacker in this is quite disappointing. But again, this is lawn mowing simulator, not weed whacking simulator. So, you know, there is that. Okay, so I got, and the boss doesn't like it when we broke the head of the machine either. No, they tend to frown on that. I also wish they had the ability to remove the guard on the weed whacker, because still to this day, I remove guards from my weed whacker, because I tend to like to have a lot of string out the side. You know, you get more done in a shorter period of time. And so anytime I use a weed whacker with a guard on it, I end up putting out too much string and the guard just cuts it off. If they make a weed whacker simulator, I will play it. But yeah, it's just it was way too basic, and honestly I would have preferred it not even be there. You know what I mean? Because it's like, obviously I didn't need it to complete the contract. So I got a $5.57 ground check time bonus, ground check earnings of $20, cutting time bonus $12.11, valuables recovered $0, $14.14 in penalties and fines, $7 for the flowers, $7 for a collision. What did I collide with? The flower? 14-cent cleanup fee, ground damage, incorrect height, cut height penalty, and vehicle maintenance, for a total of $298.53. So there's that. Every story has a beginning. Got a trophy. This is the vehicle garage. Here you can fix damaged vehicles, view statistics, purchase attachments, part existing vehicles, or purchase new ones. First, though, let's select your current vehicle so you can maintain it. Flower collision back's going to hurt in the morning. Tend to be an annoyance when you use blades, too. Yeah. Yeah. When you put some, like, we had still weed whackers. STIHL, I think was how it was spelled. And they actually used to make a saw blade attachment for the weed whackers. And I mean, it literally looked like you could just bolt that sumbitch in a table saw and go to town. They were dangerous as shit. And I know this because I'm pretty sure don't sell them anymore. And B, I was actually cutting a tree probably about this big around with one. Because it was the only machinery I had at the time to do it with, because all the chainsaws were being used on bigger shit. And so I was cutting through this tree with a saw blade on the end of my weed whacker, and I heard the pitch change. So when the pitch changes, you know the blade is getting, bound. And the entire weed whacker almost flew right out of my hands because the saw blade kicked back against the tree and just yoink. There went the weed whacker. Let's maintain your vehicle and get it ready for the next contract by selecting the maintenance button. Where is the maintenance button? Oh, right there. It's important to keep your vehicles well maintained and fixed. Ideally, after each contract, you should visit the garage, refilling the fuel tank and fixing any damage. You'll see the status of your vehicle to the left of the screen. If your vehicle needs attention, see to it now before returning to the contract map via L1 and R1. So we've just got repair, engine repair, blades. I mean, I'll refuel it, but there's really not much of a point in fixing everything else because nobody is going to take their lawnmower back to the shop after cutting somebody's yard. They're going to go to about 10 more yards. They may fill the thing up in between yards, but you're not going to go back and repair it and sharpen the blades between every yard. That's just not going to happen. So we've got a garden at the Kingsbury house. RP value $75, $345. Again, it's looks like the only contract available. So now let's do that one. 99% completion target. General cut 2 3/8 to 2 3/4 inches. Ground check time limit 4 minutes. Recommended cut time 30 minutes. Recommended deck width 43 1/4 inches. I'm only 12 inches, a whole foot shorter. Current grass range 5 1/8 to 7 7/8. Eco contract, no. Okay. And confirm. I'm waiting to see if there's actually a reason to stripe things. Like, give me, like, a striping requirement or something, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. Okay. 3 objects. It's like a fucked up Easter egg hunt. Dog toy. That was a tennis ball. Purple tennis ball. The hell is that? Oh, whatever it is, it's out of the way. A little bit, yes, but nobody is going to take their machine back to their shop and sharpen blades or do any sort of maintenance from a small yard to the next. What was it? 2 3/8 to 2 3/4. You are going to get 2 3/4, my guy. Oh, destroyed a flower. I suppose this is what the, weed whacker would be good for in this game, getting closer to the flowers. Where's the risk? Gotta be willing to take some chances. Go with my rule of thumb. Double wide pass around everything. I'll tell you what, when I was operating the zero turn, the weed whacker guy on my crew had it made because there wasn't a lot he had to do. I could get that zero turn up against almost anything. I know striping isn't a requirement in this contract, but I think what I want to do is actually give this guy a Hey, that actually worked a little bit. Nice. I think I'm going to give this guy a striping pattern that follows his sidewalk. All right, man. Take it easy. Get you a good night's sleep. That's all right, man. I appreciate you stopping by, even if it's only for a minute. Have yourself a good night, my friend. Jeff Hardy's itchweed character. Oh yeah, I remember itchweed. Whoops. Ran over a flower. I mean, oops. Sorry about your flower. You know, the sad part is I almost feel like mowing grass is actually easier than this game. It's like, the driving physics aren't terrible, but they're also not great either. Very, very touchy. And when I mow grass, both professionally and at home, I try to maximize the amount of the mower deck that's being used because I want to be done, right? And so if I'm only doing like half a pass with the mower deck, then I'm wasting my time. And it's kind of difficult to determine where the edge of the cut is on this mower deck. So I keep leaving little mohawks in my passes. You ran over my flower. It shouldn't have been planted there. Whoops. This thing also doesn't slow down as quickly as I feel like it should. But then again, I suppose I don't need to go full send on every pass either. You know, I actually think I remember some of the like office buildings that I did, we would actually cut the grass at like 5 inches because it would just make the stripe patterns that much more pronounced. The longer the grass is, the more pronounced the stripe pattern will be. This side, this guy's going to get the homeowner special. Backward circle. Mow it mow it. It can either be mow it or cut it. Cut it up, cut it. Cut it up, cut it. It would be different if I suppose if I had a better mower. Because striping is not pleasant in this game. But I think the problem with the striping with this particular mower is the wheelbase is wider than the deck, and that's a problem. When it came to the zero turns that I preferred striping with, the deck was just as wide as the wheelbase, if not a little bit wider. Because that was partially what made the stripe, was the, tires laying the grass down. And when the deck is narrower than the wheelbase, your wheelbase is constantly leaving stripe marks in a pass you already made. Something wrong with my stripes? Yeah. Like you can see from this particular angle right here that like both the front tire and the rear tire, like the rear tire is probably at least half a tire's width wider than the mower deck. And from what I remember, the zero turn that I used that I liked striping with, one of the deck wheels was like the same width as the mower's wheel base. And so that was my visual guide to line up my passes, was I would just line up the deck wheel with the previous pass. And that was right around where the mower blade cut would reach, is where the deck blade was, or the deck wheel, I should say. This one, there's not really a good visual indication of where the cut stops and where it begins. I just want to try something here, just real quick. Let me raise this up to about 4.5 inches. I just want to see if stripes look any better with a higher cut height. That's like the other problem is too is now you can actually see it from this angle. You can see on the right side there's the lighter stripe, and then on the left side there's the darker stripe. And the darker stripe has like partially taken over the lighter stripe because the wheelbase is wider than the deck. So if you actually raise up the cut height a little bit, like you can actually see a stripe pattern in here now. A little bit. I guess it also depends on the time of day in game, but well. It's like, man, if you want me to cut your grass this short, just don't have any. I'm also kind of curious to see if you can actually mow the grass in two different directions and the stripes overlap each other. Or if, you know, like one negates the other, because that's how I made the shit look like a quilt. I would mow it twice in two opposite directions. Now, Grim, I don't know about you, but this game already has me quite bored. There's only so much riveting shit you can do mowing grass. At least with Forklift Simulator, man, you got to open a truck door and, you know, shit was just all over the place. Like, you at least got a sense of wonder in your game. I wonder if this truck's gonna be fucked when I open it. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have any emo grass today. I don't think I'm going to have any grass that cuts itself. Ramming speed loading the truck. Yeah, that was fun. That was funny. This is just mowing grass. It's quite boring. Does look like I can get the lines to overlap, though, so that's neat. Oh, sorry about your flowers. I just ran right through the middle of the flowers. Oops. You've managed to damage the ground and destroy some of the grass. Ground damage is caused by turning your vehicle at full lock for extended periods of time. Ground damage will earn you penalties and fines, with some locations finding higher amounts. Show me where. Where's the skis mark? Because we can patch that up. No problem. Because trust me, I've left my fair share of skis marks in the grass. Just put some grass clippings on it, and they won't know till the grass clippings die. And then by the time you come back 2 weeks later, they done forgot about it. It'd be fine. I do like the fact that they added in I can use my mower to clean up the grass on the sidewalks. That's nice. All right. We'll at least get it out of the flowers. Make the flowers look nice. All right, so that's done. The draw distance isn't great. Like, you can see only so many blades of grass can, like, be on the screen at a time. And that's probably either an engine and or, you know, system limitation. But it is there. So when it comes to, like, striping a large area, you're not really going to see it all. You know what I mean? Because it's going to constantly be out of its render distance. I mean, the lawn's only going to look so good with that kind of a mower anyways. So I need to see how much a zero turn is. $6 for the ground check bonus, earnings $20, cutting time bonus $12, $25 in fines because I did run over a lot of flowers. Positive word of mouth. Oh, I ranked up. Newcomer rank 2. Whoa. Amateur Challenge 1 unlocked. Millerbrook Garden General Cut. Pear Tree Lodge Campsite Litter Collection. Oh, cool. Here you can edit your avatar company ID as well as take out advertisements to gain more reputation points. Company's rank and progress bar to the next rank can be seen in the top right of the screen. Currently, your HQ only has one vehicle bay, but once you earn more money, you can upgrade it and have a second vehicle bay or purchase a bigger HQ with multiple extra vehicle bays. Once you have a second vehicle, you can start to hire another employee to complete extra contracts and earn more money in RP. Shop. How much is this guy? Nope, that's a stand-on mower. I don't want one of them. This guy right here, the Skag Turf Tiger, $15,000. That's probably about accurate, in all honesty. 61-inch cut, but yes, at least the detail on this mower is done fairly well. So, going off of this zero turn, You can see here on it'd be the right side of the mower left to the screen, would be the scout pedal, is what we called it. It's to keep so if you come up on a hill, you can raise the deck up and down manually. And that's also where you'd set your cut height. So I don't know what this other pedal would be. We didn't have one of them. That might just be a deck lowering pedal. But you can see what I was talking about when it came to like striping and stuff. The mower deck is wider than the wheelbase. So you can see on the edge of the deck, right in front of the rear tire and in front of or right behind the front tire, there's 2 deck wheels. And so that is what I would use to line up my passes. And so the wheelbase would lay down the grass inside the mower cut. So when you make 2 passes right next to each other, you would actually have the 2 tire lines on the light side and 2 tire lines on the dark side. Whereas on this particular mower, there is no wheel on the deck, and the wheelbase is wider than the deck. So stripes are going to look like shit with this mower no matter what. Apply for a loan. Credible. Okay, so newcomer rank 3, and I can get a $2,500 loan. Credible rank 2, I can get a $10,000 loan. An established rank 1, I can get a $25,000 loan. So HQ upgrade, insufficient funds. I need $1,500 to upgrade. I can purchase an HQ, an advertisement, edit company, or player. So there's really nothing we can do at the moment besides more grass cutting. So $410 there, only $25 there. So I guess let's go with this one. Oh, it says 3 contracts. So, I guess there's 2 different campsite ones I can do, and this Jefferson Garden at the Hilltop House. This guy wants 2 to 2 3/8 inches. General cut, ground check time 6 minutes. Eco contract. Requires mulcher or collector. So I guess I can't do this because I don't have an eco mower. Guess I'm stuck with the campsite. Now, the first eco mower I can get is this electric 0 turn. And it's over $4,000. But then I also need a mulcher or collector. So for that, it's another attachment for either the mulch plug or the bagging kit. That's more money. Well, fuck that guy's house then. Guess we're mowing some campsites. Contract type litter collection. Bro, I mow grass. I don't pick up garbage. Not only should their lawns be kept at a high standard, but so should their whole site. Has requested we clear their grounds of all refuse. What the fuck, man? I don't do this shit. I've got, what, 10 minutes to pick up everybody's garbage? This is dumb. This game should be called Groundskeeping Simulator, because the lawn mowing is not in my company's you know, list of services. I mow grass. It's suave cuts, not suave garbage. Okay? This is dumb. There's still 4 objects that I've missed. Knock, knock, pick up your own shit. Okay, there's still 2 things left. I don't see anything else. Oh. Now there's only one more fucking thing. Who in the hell knows where that's going to be? 6 minutes. Well, let's see if I can get it done in James Bond's 6 minutes. Because I'm already getting kind of tired of running around here, looking for shit that I shouldn't be having to do to start with. You know what? Looks good to me. Fuck them. I earned $23 from picking up trash. What am I, a fucking convict? Okay, now we have an actual... Is this a... No, it's another litter collection. Fuck you and your campsite. General cut. 2 1/8, 2.5 inches. Okay, I can actually mow some grass now. Six objects, or 5 objects. Stick. Frisbee. Garden shovel. Garden gnome. What else did you people leave laying around for me to pick up? Another garden shovel. Okay, and this dude wanted what? 2 1/8, 2 1/2. You're getting 2 1/2. I honestly want to know, though, how would this game be fun? Like, who is this game for? Now, I will say, I suppose, if you dream of home ownership and, you know, believe you'll never get there, because our economy is beyond fucked, I suppose this is the closest you could get to mowing your own yard. I'll give you that one, I guess. But beyond that, who would want to play this? Who is this for? Not sure which group of people sat down at a company table and discussed making games like this and decided it's a good idea and business plan. Yeah. Now, mind you, you can tell this game, much like Forklift Simulator and Construction Simulator, didn't have large budgets. And I can say that with confidence because they're built in Unity. Now, there's nothing necessarily wrong with using the Unity game engine. But there's a reason a lot of smaller developers and cheaper games are made in Unity. Because Unity, I mean, I've never used Unity myself, but I can't think of very many revolutionary, groundbreaking games that were made in the Unity engine. So like this game isn't going to reinvent the wheel by any stretch of the imagination. You know, and the sound of a lawnmower is one of them things that I used to hear in my sleep, because all I would do for hours every day is sit on a lawnmower. So it's a sound that's not particularly pleasant to me. Oh yeah, I would have loved to be in the production meeting for a game like this. See, the thing is I would actually like to try this game with one of the zero turns that has, you know, a larger deck and everything, because that might actually be more akin to my own experience and not this rinky-dinky ass, you know, whatever this is. Like, I honestly don't know anybody that would start a landscaping company with this. You would at least want a zero turn. Nobody I know would start a landscape or lawn mowing business with this type of a lawnmower unless you were like fresh out of high school, still a teenager, and this is all you have. And at that point, you might get some jobs in the trailer park. But beyond that, you ain't going to be cutting these fancy-ass, you know, British, you know, mansion yards with this hunk of shit. It just ain't going to happen. I mean, yes, I could get a platinum on this game, I suppose. You know, then my life would be complete and everything. I would never have to play another game in my life if I could platinum Lawn Mowing Simulator. Okay, I'm starting to get a little dizzy now. Oh, I damaged the ground. How dare I? just having the time of my life. Oh yeah, gonna have to sell the house now because I left a skis mark in the grass. Absolutely not. I don't mind Construction Simulator. I will say that me and Grim have kind of torn apart this whole simulator thing over the last couple of days. But Construction Simulator, honestly, is not terrible. But that game has so many different construction vehicles in it that the gameplay is actually, varied a little bit from job to job. It's not just the same thing over and over again. That has been, kind of my, I have an hour to chill, I'll play something game. The Construction Simulator has fit that bill. This one will not. I honestly kind of feel like I'm about to fall asleep playing this game. This may just be one of the most boring gaming experiences I've ever had in my life. Not my fault your flowers are in the damn way. No, this will definitely not make my list of best games I've played in 2026. As a matter of fact, so far I've got 2 games now on the list that I've played in the year 2026. This one and Resident Evil Code Veronica. And actually no, I don't think I've gotten to Code Veronica yet this year, because I think technically my Code Veronica stream was what was that? It was the Sunday before New Year's, I do believe. Something like that. But between this and Code Veronica, this one is in a very, very far second place, and will probably be last on my list for the entire year. It would have to take something truly bad for this game to now become enjoyable. And I suppose I should say that this game isn't necessarily bad. Okay? There's nothing typically quite Siberia. For one reason. As much as I hated Siberia, I am confident I could be done with Siberia quicker than I could be done with this game. Like, if it was a completion challenge, this every day of the week. Or Siberia every day of the week. Because I could probably get done with Siberia within, you know, a handful of hours. This, the way it's structured, you'd be here for days. Plus, I don't have any magnetic mines in this game. So, you know, we've got that as well. I will say, I think Siberia would be a more miserable experience in the short term. But that short-term misery would be more tolerated than this long-term lawn mowing grind. Going around in circles again. Gonna cut some big ass circles in your yard, bud. But I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, or game in general standpoint, like, it's not a bad game. It delivered what's advertised, right? Like, I don't feel like I've been given any false promises, you know, or anything like that. Like, I don't feel like this game hasn't delivered what's advertised. You know, so far I haven't encountered any, you know, bugs or anything game breaking. You know, it functions as advertised. So I wouldn't consider it a bad game necessarily. But I also would not consider it a game that I find fun. It is not all overgrown fields of disappointment, no. But the fact that also they kind of just throw this eco contract at you fairly early on that you can't do without like a $4,000 mower, and all you have is this little $800 piece of shit. So it's like, now I'm gonna have to buy an electric mower to complete this contract. That kind of irritates me a little bit, and I wonder if that contract will now always be there, or if I'll get like a rotating list of contracts. What was my time limit on this? Recommended finish time 27 minutes, so I got 7 minutes to finish this. As far as I know, the DLCs are just map packs, and that's it. maybe another mower or something, but beyond that, it's just different locations, as far as I know. I mean, I suppose if you're into boring simulator games, you know, have at it. Guess what would help if I didn't suck. .1% is all I need. No. Yeah. That's pretty accurate. Cutting complete. There. Next time, mow your own goddamn grass. I quit. Now, I believe a lot of zero turns actually have like a striping kit that you can put on them, so it actually lays the grass down more evenly rather than just with the tires. So if there's any sort of like striping kits in the game, that might help with the appearance of the grass when it comes to, you know, the stripes and whatnot. $7.40 for ground check time bonus. Ground check earnings $20. Cutting time bonus $5. $17 in fines. 15 of that being flowers. I was fined $1.25 for collisions and 84 cents for ground damage, and 6 cents for incorrect cut height penalty. Whatever. Newcomer rank 3. I think I can get a loan now. I can also upgrade this, which I think I will actually have to do in order to buy another lawnmower anyways. Apply for a loan. So I can get a $2,500 loan now. So, yeah, let's do that. We'll worry about paying it back later. Oh, I can get another $2,500 loan. Well, let's see how far we can take this. Oh, I don't want to repay it. Oh, I can only take out 3 loans at a time. Okay, so I've got $9,000 now. Let's go shopping. This thing's got a damn backpack on it. I don't need one of them, though. No. Okay, so let's upgrade the HQ. $160,000? You're out of your mind. Advertisement, social media ad, local flyers, and printed media. Well, now that I've got some cash, but it still says 0 attachments. I can get a mulch plate for $100. Statistics. Oh, so can I trade this in? Vehicle is equipped with a side discharge type deck. That means as you cut with it, grass clippings are discharged from the side chute. Okay. Well, I can get the stand-up skag, but I still can't get this one. I don't have enough money for that. So I can buy the stand-up skag, or I could buy this Toro zero turn. There is this Patriot skag. I could get that one. There's also this zero turn here and this zero turn, which I need to do the other thing. So I could buy that. 42-inch capacity. Deck size. Top speed 7 miles an hour. This one's 10 miles an hour. 48 inches, 52 inches, 52 inches. Yeah, we're going to go with this guy right here. It's a 52-inch deck, so I'll be able to get more done in less time. So, yes, we'll do that. Got a trophy. Part exchange a vehicle for a more expensive one. I think this Jefferson Garden, yes, was the eco contract. So we got this one here, no eco contract. And campsite, litter collection, you can eat shit. General cut, 2 3/4 inches to 3 1/8 of an inch. 5-minute ground check, recommended cut time of 19 minutes. Recommended deck width, 51 1/8 of an inch. What was this one? 52 inches. So I actually have the recommended deck size for that. Current grass range, 8 5/8 inches to 11 3/4 of an inch. Hey. Glad I bought a new mower for this sumbitch. The vehicle you have selected has a deck width above the recommended range. Completing the contract fully may not be possible. Man! Fuck out of here. Your deck is too big for this yard. You might not be able to complete it. Bruh. I used to run a mower that was 16 feet wide. You'd be surprised at some of the places I could get that sumbitch into. Oh yeah, ground check. Yeah, just let the expert work, would you? Like, I shit you not, the mower that I used was actually made for mowing golf courses. So am I not mowing the other half? How do I get over there? How am I supposed to get back there, my guy? Guess I'm only doing half of your yard. Okay, and this guy wants it cut to 3/8 of an inch. This is much better. I feel like I can actually get something done now. But yeah, driving is still L2 and R2 for the zero turn. It would be kind of neat if it was these. I mean, I suppose then you wouldn't really have very good camera controls. But yeah, that's how zero turns operate. Is, you know, one side is left and one side is right. However, you can actually see the guy moving the arms appropriately. You know, so I guess kudos for realism on that front. Kind of sad I didn't get to use the Turf Tiger though, because that was I'm pretty sure, I can't say for certain, but I'm pretty sure those Skag Turf Tigers were the actual, you know, brand and model mower that I used when I did lawn mowing. One of them. My favorite brand and model is not in this game, but that was one of them. And as a matter of fact, on one of those Turf Tiger 2s. Let's see here. Let me look at the engine real quick. I believe it's right. I don't really have a good way to point at it. But right here on the back with these two clips, that's your air filter. Okay. Directly under that, you can see some hoses going to a circular thing that looks like it has a bolt in the middle of it or something like that. This little circular thing right there. That, to me, if I remember correctly, was the fuel pump. And there's two wires that go underneath it. And I remember having to load one of those Skag Turf Tigers onto my truck, holding the wire into the fuel pump because it had gotten ripped out. But the looks like you got your oil dipstick back there. So we don't have any grease inserts on the front wheels. Most zero turns would have grease inserts on the front wheels. This particular model, I can't say for certain. I can't tell because of, okay, yeah, we do have an actual deck belt under there. So like, much like Grim noticed with Forklift Simulator, like the model details are well done. So we've got our choke down there. We've got our throttle adjustment. You know, your blade engage. Looks like there is an hours counter on here. I'm actually feel like I'm sitting in the seat, so that's kind of lit. I'm not sitting on the back of the seat. So let's try this in first person. Okay, now we've got a decent sized yard here. Yeah, it's a little clunky in first person, but this one does look like the deck is wider than the wheelbase. So let's see how this one does when it comes to striping. Let me see if there's camera sensitivity. Let's turn that down to about 60. That's a little better. I don't think the weeds right here actually matter. I think I could just mow them over. Yes, I can. Real quick, let's see here. So let's put this in reverse. I'll even turn the blades off real quick for this. So reverse, forward. Nope. Okay, gotta knock them for that. So with these zero turns, if you go full blast in reverse and just cram them bitches in forward, you can do one hell of a wheelie. Okay. And the wheels didn't even try to come up off the ground. So I got to knock them for that. Just being honest with you. So, you know, I'm going to give kudos where kudos are due. And give them props on this you know, detailed model, at least. Although, Grim, I'm going to tell you something about this game that should make you very happy. It is not available for PlayStation VR 1 or 2, but if you have a MetaQuest, let me see here. Let me go back and find it. If you have a MetaQuest, MetaQuest Pro, or MetaQuest 3, MetaQuest 2, or MetaQuest Pro, you can play this game in VR. So, you know. You can get your lawn mowing on with extra realism. Although you just gave me a hell of an idea, in all honesty. If I can find a forklift simulator for the PlayStation VR, I can let you know how that is. I do have some forklift experience, not quite as much as you do, but I do have some. So if I find one on the PlayStation VR, I could, you know, let you know how it is. If you wanted to, you know, give us the expert, you know, the opinion of lawn mowing simulator in VR. You know what? Let's put this at about 4 3/4 of an inch. We'll just double cut this yard. Under the assumption that we'd both be willing to fork out even more money, brother, on more copies of games like this. I don't see it. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, these stripes are a little squirrely, but I would do better on an actual, you know, machine. Is there any way I can adjust the string trimmer toggle? No, there isn't any way we can adjust the field of view, unfortunately. Because I feel like the field of view is a little off. Because I seem to... When I would actually cut grass, okay, I've said before, I would line up my deck wheel, which this side doesn't have a deck wheel, this side does, but I'm using basically the area of the deck right behind the chute as my line. And I feel like I could see that and a decent ways in front of me, right? I suppose I could just do that, but I feel like I should have a little bit wider field of vision, because when I'm sitting on a zero turn and I have my hands on the handles, at the very bottom of my vision, right, like I would have the handle probably about here, about maybe right where my microphone is, right, maybe a little lower, but I can see that from the bottom of my vision, right? So even when I'm looking forward, even slightly downward, I should see my hands. And in order to get there, I've got to turn the camera all the way down. So I should be able to, about at least right here, I should see the zero turn handles, at least at the bottom of the screen. So I'd like the camera to be zoomed out a little bit, but you only have one first person view, and then you've got 3 third person views. So I would, that's a change I would like to see, have a little bit wider, you know, field of vision. Because mowing grass like this is not something you necessarily do. I would maybe have about the bottom of my vision when I'm mowing grass, right? I'd have my hands here and I would be kind of looking down like this. And so I would have my primary focus on, you know, the deck to line up my stripes so I can tell, you know, that way I'm not leaving any mohawks. But at the same time, I've got the peripheral vision this way where I can still essentially see the end of my line. So that would be about, you know, there, I suppose. So it's just, we need a little bit more than what we've got. Like if I could get maybe another 20 degrees, I'd be happy. Before we mow the rest of this, hardest part about striping, honestly, is laying the stripes down the first time. Once they're there, the next, week when you go back, you can just follow the other pattern, the original pattern. And it makes the stripes a lot easier. Unless, of course, you're striping after somebody who sucks at striping, then you got to try to straighten their lines out, and that's not fun. I did leave a little bit of a mohawk on that one, didn't I? Oops. That's alright. If the stripe was a little too wide, I can fix that. Okay, so we've got this all striped in one direction. Well, just about, actually. I forgot about this half, somehow. But overall, now that I've actually got a zero turn to work with, that's got a deck wider than the wheelbase, these stripes actually don't look too bad. I mean, they're a little squiggly, but in terms of like realism, I suppose that's kind of what I expect lawn mowing stripes to look like. I feel like this is a game in VR that could give you motion sickness quite quickly. Because I almost feel like I'm starting to get it just playing this in first person. I mean, it might not actually be as bad in VR because you'd actually be able to move your head around, rather than constantly trying to, like, tweak the camera. it might not be as bad because you have more control over the camera movements. This section of the yard is going to look a little rough, but we ain't going to pay attention to that. Okay, so now, the one thing that geometry class gave me a benefit is we want to find a good 45-degree angle. And that would be right about here. And this guy wanted what? 3 1/8 of an inch. So we'll do, well, yeah, 3 1/8 was the top. So we'll set this at 3 inches. And now we're going to quilt this guy's yard. Now, when it comes to striping, the first line is always the most important, and that's where I got to knock this game a little bit on its realism, is you just hold R2 and don't touch the stick, and you get a perfectly straight line. If you had to, hold L2 and R2 at the same time, or, use the sticks or something like that, when you've got elevation changes, that's going to change how your mower reacts to the ground. I mean, it's a little bit of a nitpick, I suppose. But I mean, we're talking simulators, so I'm trying to relive my, my hard-working landscaping days. And these are just things I notice. See, this guy wanted it done in, 19 minutes, and I'm already at 26? Well, you're getting a fucking quilted yard, my guy. You can't rush art, all right? Wait, that's a brake pedal? I don't think I've ever been on a zero turn with a brake pedal before. stripes here got a little bit messed up. So let's straighten these out a little bit. Well, my stripes around the building didn't actually exactly line up just right, but yeah, oh well. There's going to be a slight wrinkle in the quilt. Okay, how am I only 72% done though? Oh wait, yeah, I still got to do all of this at the right height. Because I started and I did that half. Well, when he comes out here and sees his yard looks like a fucking quilt, I should get a bonus. Because for one, clearly the guy that was supposed to do this job sucked. Because he let this shit get 8 inches tall. And I think at least where I live, if it gets to 11 inches tall, the city will come mow it for you and fine you for it. So this guy was only 3 inches away from a fucking fine. So I had to double cut his fucking yard. Alright, and with that, we are done. Finally. Now let's take a look at our handiwork. We got stripes that way, we got stripes that way. You know, for some virtual stripes, these ain't bad. You want to come play some golf in your backyard, my guy? Now, the interesting thing is you can see here where I cut the initial stripes at the required height. You know, because I did these first couple lines at the required cut height, and you can't really see the cut lines, you know, the second batch of cut lines through these. So that's a little bit weird, because you should be able to see those, because, well, there is still grass there. And there's been times before where, you know, I'd stripe a yard and I'd cut it, you know, to the right length. And, I mean, okay, like, look, if I didn't say I didn't milk a few days worth of work, I'd be lying, right? Because some days, you got to have your 8 hours. And so if I could milk another 20 minutes out of a yard by striping it twice, yeah, then the second pass just might not have the blades on. So these lines should still be continuing through the initial 2 cuts. So I do gotta... I mean, I'm guessing because they're cut at the required height in-game, it just, I guess, like, disables you from cutting it any higher or leaving any marks in it at a higher height or whatever. We'll ignore that. but yeah, these stripes ain't too bad. And when you look at it like this, like, just look at that quilt right there. Do you mind? Like, right there. Quilting 101. And just like that, you can see stripes in both directions. B-E-A, beautiful. I'd say that cut looks pretty suave. Now, the thing that kind of sucks is there's no photo mode. I don't even think there's a third-person mode, to be honest with you. Because I need a YouTube thumbnail. You know what? Let's see if we can actually clean up this, around this tree a little bit. Yeah, the weed whackers physics in this game are awful. Honestly, and I mean this, I mean this gently and respectfully, the game would have been better without the weed whacker in it. That's just kind of a waste of time. But we'll go just like that for our lawnmower simulator. Actually, let me get the mower back out too. Let me do that. Let me have the mower in the picture. Park it in the shade where it might be 110. Oh, it's just... Here I was holding the button, and it's either just throttle down or throttle up. There is no in-between. There we go. I don't think I ever really checked the throttle before now. But yeah, you just tap the button and it goes either full up or full down. Gotta knock them a little bit for that, because there's been several times where when you're mowing near, you know, certain things, you might want to dial the throttle down, because you can still cut at half throttle. You just have to go much, much slower. But there are benefits to being able to, you know, adjust your throttle. It's not always full up, full down. But this guy's grass is done. Fuck this guy and his yard. But he does have a nice quilted yard now that he can go play golf in. And I should have tried striping in third person just to get a feel for it. It might be easier than in first person because you can see, you know, the whole ass mower. But when it comes to realism and simulation, I have to give my expert opinion. And I can't drive a lawnmower in third person. I can only drive a lawnmower in first person because I am me and you are you. So in first person, it was a little jarring. It was a little disorienting. Even with the camera on 60%, I still felt like it was a little quick. And the field of vision was, I felt like a little off too. So I actually have a slight headache now after doing all of that. It's been quite a while since a game's given me a headache, so we can add that to the list. Ground check time, $5. Ground check earnings, $20. Cutting time bonus, nothing. Valuables, nothing. $13 in fines due to collisions. I suppose maybe I did put some dents in the guy's, you know, rusted up antique tractor. But I made $546 off that job. So now, obviously, this is all in euros. So just out of curiosity here, let's see here, 546 euros to dollars. So in dollars, well, let's see, 546.81 euros to dollars would be $638.89. So I made over $600 cutting this guy's yard. I would stripe that dude's yard 4 times for that kind of money, though. Just to be completely honest with you, because $638 is about what I make in a week at my regular day job on the door assembly line. So a whole week, now that's after taxes and insurance and everything, but $638 a week is what I bring home, roughly. It's in the ballpark, anyways. So I think it took me, what, 30, a little over a half hour to do this dude's yard. I would do that every day of the week and twice on Sunday for $638. First weekly report. I've earned $1,753 and $1,955 in asset sales, whatever that is. Expenses, vehicle purchases, building purchases and upgrades. So I only lost $1,200 over the course of the week by taking out a loan and buying a vehicle and everything. Not bad. Newcomer rank 4, amateur challenge 3, Hilltop House, the Davies Garden, general cut. I feel like this is just the other half of the yard. I think this is the same place. It's just the other half of the yard. But that's going to be it for... here's the stripe kit. The patented Skag Tiger Striping Lawn Striping System is the ultimate way to enhance the striping ability of your Skag Patriot. This lawn striper has unique features that allow you to turn the striping on and off. First half, I feel like you did earlier in the night. Yeah. And then a mulch plate. So this just covers up the chute. So instead of throwing the grass clippings off the side, it just mulches it up under the mower blade. But we didn't use these. I honestly don't really feel much of a need for one. But I mean, I suppose it could potentially make your, stripes stand out a little bit more, maybe make them a little more pronounced because it's laying all of the grass down and not just where the wheels are. But I mean, 3 hours in, I can't say I'm going to wake up tomorrow and go, man, I need to get these kids off of school so I can play some more lawn mowing simulator. That's just not in my thought process whatsoever. So it looks like we can change controls to whatever we want. I don't know what change drive mode would be. Steering and movement you can't change. So that's always going to be the left analog stick, and the Pro View and camera will always be right stick. So there's that. See what so I got $1,700. What about the loans? Active loans. Yeah, I still have 3 loans out. Insufficient funds to pay off this loan. So I've only got, $7,500 in debt. 40% interest rate? Bruh, shut the business down, file for bankruptcy, because we ain't going to recover from that. Weekly repayments of $350 3 times. So we're talking about, let's see here, $350, $700. That's $1,000 a week. And let's see here, I get $295 from that guy, $410 from that guy. I can't even cut his grass, and I get, bankruptcy. That's what we have. That's what we've earned ourselves at the end of this 3.5 hour session, is bankruptcy. And the fact that I can't file for bankruptcy makes me a little bit sad, because I feel like I should be able to just shut this bitch down and end the agony. But that's enough for today. That's Lawn Mowing Simulator Landmark Edition. I have a very, very good feeling that this game is going to be uninstalled tomorrow. Just to be completely honest with you. Let's see, how much would it cost? Full repair, $37. Engine repair, $4. Blades, $8. That's not real. Well, the cutting blades are damaged. I mean, you just sharpen them. And $2.75 to fill the fuel tank. I don't think that's all that realistic. We've earned Rupsy. That's right. Time to start hawking shit. Anyway, so last night you got the Grim Gamer, the expert plays Forklift Simulator, and today we've gotten the former expert plays landscape or lawn mowing simulator. I mean, once I bought a zero turn, the striping is pretty on point. That felt fairly realistic. The overall controls in general, I would have liked to see done better. I really do think the zero turn in general could benefit from using the analog sticks for movement, because that would be because if we're going for a simulator, I feel like your goal should be the most realistic experience possible. And so for a zero turn, pushing the sticks up to go forward, and down to go backwards, and then, various up and downs opposite each other to turn would be your most realistic possible experience, right? The only problem would be like camera movement, and I suppose you could use like L1 and R1 to turn the camera, R2 and L2 to go up and down. That might just be kind of weird. I don't know any game that does that, so that would be a little bit weird. Maybe, like press one of the sticks to turn the camera and then press it again to, resume your mowing controls. But as far as acceleration and braking goes, that felt a little bit clunky. These mowers definitely didn't slow down as quickly as they should. And the fact that I couldn't pop a wheelie on this zero turn, I'm tempted to leave a negative review on Steam because that broke my immersion. Because I mean, if you do it enough, you could almost flip the bitch. So, there's like no risk in flipping the thing over backwards, no matter how hard you cram it in reverse and back into forward. It's not jerky at all when you do that. But I mean, the turning of a zero turn seemed like it was fairly on point. Striping with a zero turn, I mean, as much as you can match it on one of these, to the real thing. I felt like overall technique translates, to the way that I would stripe naturally to the way I striped in this game. That worked. That felt, pretty accurate. The clumps of grass clippings that just kind of appear at random, that's a little bit annoying. They shouldn't even have put a weed whacker in this fucking game. I'm just going to put that out there because it's so... That is like the only thing about this game that I would genuinely consider bad is the weed whackers, because it barely does anything, and what it does barely do, it doesn't do very well at all. There's no height adjustment to it. There's no string length adjustment. Now, obviously, they have the guard on there, but if you, like I do, have no guard on your weed whacker, you can get that string out about a foot. It won't work too well at that point, but there's no string length adjustment. There's no height adjustment whatsoever, angle, nothing. It's hard to tell if it's even actually doing anything. So that could definitely be done way better. So if you're going to put the weed whacker in Lawn Mowing Simulator 2, rebuild that mechanic from the ground up, because what's there doesn't work. I mean, beyond that, I can't say this was necessarily an enjoyable experience, but you also have to remember, counting drive time from site to site, I did landscaping for 3 years, April through I think the end of October, which is 6 solid months of the year for 3 years. So, I mean, I've sat on these, zero turns for, like I said, including drive time, most weeks were 50 plus hours. It's impossible for me to calculate, how much that would be without drive time hours, because some days we drove hardly at all, and we spent, half the day at one factory just mowing grass for 4 straight hours, and there's like 12 of us out there doing it. And then there was other days where we had to drive 2 hours for a 45-minute cut, and then jump in the truck, drive another 20 minutes for a 15-minute cut, jump in the truck, drive another 30 minutes for another half-hour cut. So it's just impossible for me to try to even calculate drive time hours as opposed to actual cutting hours. Plus, I did weed whack for the first year, so I basically got about 2 full years on a zero turn, or 2 full seasons, I should say, on a zero turn. And plus, just mowing grass every week for the last 23 fucking years in general. It does well, I guess, for what it's trying to do. But let's just be honest here. Lawn mowing simulator and forklift simulator would go right in the same category as paint drying simulator. Watching grass grow simulator, peeling vegetables simulator, washing dishes simulator. Like, if it's something you do all day, every day on a regular basis, doing a simulation of that is just not going to be fun. It just becomes a mundane task. And when you've done it for that long, for that many hours, it's just not fun. Period. Exclamation point. I mean, I can write it down, but I don't really know how else to say it. Peeling vegetables simulator. I think I'm onto something. So, I mean, the thing is there's so many of these damn simulator games. Like, the cow has been milked, okay? Just take it out behind the barn and shoot the son of a bitch and put it out of its misery. We don't need any more simulator games. I give Construction Simulator, Ironing Socks Simulator, yeah. I give Construction Simulator a little bit of a free pass when it comes to some of these, I guess, comparing it to these other simulator games, because there's enough of it there that it's different. Construction covers a lot of shit. Construction can be residential construction, commercial construction, agricultural construction. You build colleges, shopping malls, houses, motels, roads, bridges. All of that is different. It varies. And so it kind of covers all of the bases. Whereas this covers one thing, and that's residential mowing. At least in the 3 hours that I played it, that's all it is. It's a residential yard mowing simulator. That's it. And I don't know anybody that actually enjoys doing that. Now, again, if I could make $638 for a half hour's worth of work, I'd do it now. And it's almost 1 a.m. Yeah, I'd strap headlights to my mower, all kinds of shit. If I can make $638 in the next half hour, then I'd do it. But that would make it worth my time. I'm not getting paid for this. I'm earning nothing. So therefore, this has there is no reason for me to do this any longer. There wasn't really much of a reason to do it to begin with. But it was still worth it. The $30 price tag and all. Do you want to know why? Because we got Grim to play Forklift Simulator. And that was my goal. And this was my punishment. And you know what? I'd do it again. So, Grim, fill us in on what you got going on for the rest of the week. I am going to try to fit some things in throughout the rest of the week. I need to get back onto my work schedule. Had one of your coworkers comment on the replay on YouTube, so that was worth it also. We need to see that comment now. I'm going to take a break now and take a look at that comment because I'm curious. Yeah, it had the photo on it of the forklift on its side, just, ready to go. Anyways, but I normally during the week I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I work until either 2 p.m. or 4 p.m. It just depends on the day. My supervisor has until an hour before the end of my day to tell me, hey, you're fucked for 2 more hours. and meant the real photo of, oh, in the stream of the tape and the rope. Yeah. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Grimm's forklift simulator video, because gold. But I've kind of fallen back on my old schedule where I'm up too late and everything, because I don't really have much going on. I have this next week off as well. My kids are back in school, so I will have some time during the school day. I'm going to try to fit in, maybe 2 or 3 streams or something like that during the week. I may still do Wednesday night. It kind of depends on how I feel. If I do Wednesday night, it might be like a 9 p.m. start Wednesday. But I miss having a schedule where it was like, hey, Sunday night, Wednesday night, bam, this is what I'm doing. And I can't do that right now. I just have to play it by ear and fit things in when I can. So got more Sonic X Shadow Generations Tuesday and Wednesday, and hoping to get that done. Then do F-Zero on Super Nintendo Thursday. Okay. Well, if you're already planning on Wednesday night, then I'll have to do... if I do like a 9 o'clock start Wednesday night, then that'll be like a 2.5 hour stream. But I want to try to get through Code Veronica this week. Next Sunday, I'll be streaming again as well. But that will probably be, an early afternoon, 2, 3 p.m. stream like they were before Christmas. That's all I'm going to have time for, is that one day per week after this week. So I'm going to try to just fit in what I can when I can during the week. I might start at 9 in the morning and, stream till noon. I might start at noon and go till 3. It really just depends on what's going on here at home, if anything, and, whether I feel like sitting here and doing something or not. That's, the best I can do. I will update the Grim Beardson Discord. That is pinned in the chat, and there will be a link in the description. I will pin that in the Discord I will post in the Discord as early as possible when I plan on doing something, but it's probably going to be a, hey, just sat down, I'll be ready in, 5-10 minutes kind of deal. But the plan is this week to finish Resident Evil Code Veronica X, and then moving on to Resident Evil 4, hopefully no later than next Sunday. With that being said, Grim, thanks for hanging out all night. I appreciate it. Chase the motherfucking base. Thanks for the 17th month in a row subscription. Chase is the real MVP, second only to the Grim Gamer. And Blues for the Red Sun. It was great to see you as well. Blues was there hanging out with me very, very early on, a couple years ago when I was doing Metal Gear Twin Snakes speed runs. So, with that being said, I'm out of here, and until next time, stay suave.